All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I see a lot of people are saying hello in the chat. We have people from Toronto, Guelph, Vancouver Island. All right. This is great. I love seeing we have almost coast to coast. I'm waiting for some East Coasters to say hi, but maybe you guys are feeling shy. That's okay. So you see we have the chat. Put your questions in the chat as we go through the presentation, and we will do a Q&A at the end, but as soon as they come to your mind, just put them in the chat. I will be noting all the questions. Some little technical tips. If you have any issues with buffering with your screen, sometimes all you need to do is just refresh your screen. If that doesn't work, you might have too many tabs and windows open. So make sure you close all those, really focus. This is going to be an amazing webinar, so you want to put all your attention towards this. So what are we here for? Well, we are here to talk about how to make 2018 your best year. And we are here with Billy Van Raphorst from Buffini Company. This is so exciting. So Billy is in his 14th year with the company. He is a coaching captain. He was one of the lead developers for the Referral Maker program, and he is also a speaker and trainer for Buffini. We are very, very pleased to have him here, and I'm going to pass it over to Billy right now. So thank you so much for joining us, Billy.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? I know you can't wave or clap back, but I'm pretending in my head that you guys are standing ovation. Hear me? So I'm going to go ahead and pretend like that's the case. So let me go ahead and share this again, and we'll get going. And I'll check the chat. If you guys have any questions, obviously shoot them up in the chat. If for some reason you can't hear, then shoot that up there, and we will try to get on it as quick as we can. All right, so let's see here, and then play. All right, so that's good. My picture looks like my picture. I'm glad about that. And we're going to talk about having your best year ever in 2018. And now is the best, if not the last time, we should be starting to plan for the year. So this is our company headquarters. We're actually a real company. We have a really great headquarters in Carlsbad, California. If you've never been out to check it out, it's a pretty cool place. All right, so let's get right into what you guys want to know. The first thing we need to know is where you're going. What do you want to achieve in 2018? A lot of people start year to year to real estate, and they don't really set out a target. That'd be like, okay, we're going on vacation as a family, and you pack up the entire Winnebago. They still make those? I don't know if they make those. And then you guys head out, and you have no idea where you're going. So think about that. You wouldn't start a vacation that way. We really want to start out as a business owner, find out what are you really trying to accomplish? Where do you want to go in 2017 or 2018? The next thing is you have to prepare for the journey. So the first thing is, where do you want to go? The next thing is prepare for the journey. Like actually prepare. Take the vacation, for example, again. I know we live in Los Angeles, so what we do for vacation is we get up on a Friday morning, and then at the end of the work on Friday, we decide we're going to go to Las Vegas for the night. But we can do that because that's a 4-hour drive, and well, I probably shouldn't do it anymore in my 40s, but in my 30s, it was a great time. But if you got the family and it's the one summer vacation of the year, you're going to prepare for the journey. You're going to head out on somewhere, you know where you're going. You're going to bring things with you, you know you're going to need, all right? And the last thing is do less and achieve more. If you take the vacation example again, I want to have an amazing vacation with the least amount of resources and get the most amount of impact for my family. It's the same thing we want to do in business. We want to do the most efficient things, and we want to achieve the most we can from the most efficient things that we do. So let me break that down just a little bit more for you. Know where you're going. All right. So you got to have a compelling target. When we talk about a target in Referral Maker, which is our lead generation tracking program, our contact management program that we use at Buffini Company, we've built a dashboard or a cockpit. And that's for you to be able to see exactly where you are in your business and exactly where you want to go. So you guys can blow this up or look at it later, but on the right-hand side up here, it says My Pipeline. and it'll talk about right here, it'll say what your goal is, and then it has where you are in relation to your goal. And we have this little bar that goes across so that every time you log in here, you know exactly where you are in relation to where you're headed. Right? It's kind of like a GPS for your business, like you would use it in your car when you're driving out on vacation. Right? The next thing we want to do is find out how much money we have coming in and then how much potential we have. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to switch screens. And are you there? You have to unmute yourself. Let's see. If you're not there, I'm going to keep going. All right. So we'll keep going. So what we want to do is have a compelling target. All right. So at Buffini Company, what we do is we do activities, and those activities, we do that to generate a referral. And we track exactly how many activities that we need and how many referrals we generated. And then we can tell you exactly how many contacts or activities you're going to need to do in order to get a referral and how many referrals you're going to need to close a deal. So for example, this client right here, every 3 referrals, they close 1 transaction. And every 6 contacts, that would be voice to voice or face to face, you would ask for a referral, you would get a referral. So if we multiply those 2 things together, for every 18 contacts, according to this person, they would get a closed transaction. So if they need to do 4 closed transactions a month, for example, they would need to do roughly 72 contacts a month in order to achieve their goal. 78 contacts a month to achieve their goal. Okay. So we would build that into their marketing plan. Then down below, it shows your sales statistics. So you need to know what your average sales price is. You need to know how much you make in commission for every deal that you do. And then this is a great tool down here, is how much commission you're actually charging your clients or that you're making per transaction. I can tell how many people I coach, and I say, okay, how much do you charge per transaction? And they'll say 2.5 or 3%. And we'll go in, and their actual commission is the difference between what their broker gives them and what they sell the house for. So their actual commission could include all these fees and everything else. And so they're leaving percentage points on the table. We want to find out what those are and get those back if possible.
Hi, Billy.
Yep.
Sorry, Stephanie's microphone got muted and she cannot unmute. I've had to actually borrow another computer here, but we're not actually seeing your screen is one of the problems that we're getting right now.
Oh, okay, that's a problem.
Yeah, so if you could just unshare your screen, if you don't mind, for a quick second.
Sure. Stop sharing.
Yep. And yeah, and then just hit screen share again. This time share your entire screen. And it'll do that, yeah, and then just go to your presentation. And then hit from wherever you were there. So yeah, there you go. Now people will be able to see it. I apologize to everybody who's tuned in. For some reason, yeah, Stephanie's microphone has just been muted and we can't seem to unmute it. So had to start up another computer here and get in another way. So I'll send it back to you, Billy. Thanks so much.
Awesome. You guys got ghosts. It's okay. Don't worry about it. All right. So let me go back to the beginning. There's our company. Like I told you, we actually have a building. And then the 3 points are: know where you're going, prepare for the journey, and do less and achieve more. So know where you're going, prepare for the journey, do less, achieve more. So we talked about know where you're going. And here's what I was showing people is on the right, it may be a little hard to see to blow up, but you want to know what your pipeline's like. You want to know exactly what your goal is each and every single month that you go in and where you are in relation to your goal throughout the year so we can make decisions. We want to know how many referrals you need to close a deal. So with this client, because they track their activities pretty well, they know they need 3 referrals to close 1 deal, and they know that they need to contact 6 clients to get a referral. So as we build this client's business plan, this is 6 times 3 is 18. So for every 18 contacts, they would get a closed transaction. Then we would figure out how many of those they need to do per month, and we would set some pretty cool targets. So when we say have a compelling target, our goal is that you know how much money you want to take home to your family and what you need to earn in business to support your lifestyle. And then we build a plan that numerically shows you exactly what it's going to take for you to get there. And then we try to stay as tight as we can to that compelling plan for you guys. And that's okay. You can build this on your own. You don't have to use our program for that, but you need to have a compelling target. All right. So what we do is to keep people on target throughout their year is there's a seasonality to real estate, just like there's a seasonality to weather everywhere outside of Los Angeles where I live. So if you start real estate, the first 75 days of the year, we call it the launch your year. And that's where you're super productive as you can be, putting as much as you can into your pipeline. That's the first 75 days. We actually have a blitz period we've shared as a company. We start a blitz at the beginning of the year. It's a productivity run based program. We train everybody in it because of how important it is. Then we take a little break, and you'll notice that there's like a graph, like a heart monitor here. So if you guys have ever seen a heart monitor, if the heart monitor is like flat line, like all the way across, that's not good. It's either unplugged or someone's not on the other end of it. So what we want to do is make sure that your year has some rhythm to it. So 75 days, really, really hard, and then take a break of some kind. And take a break means, like, if you're a farmer, for example, you'd have all your tools and you work really hard in the spring. You get all your crops in the field in the spring. You plant. And then when you're done, you bring all the tools and everything back to the farm and you work on it. You would fix up the barn, you fix up the combine, even airplanes do that. There's a rhythm to airplanes. Every so often they have to go to the shed and get the engines checked out, get the wheels changed, stuff like that. So that's what we do with our year as well. We take a break, and then you get to work on you in this period as well. And then as we start up the hill again, you plan, and then summertime surge. This is 45 days of high intense activity. And then the rhythm stops again, and you go and revamp your business, you revamp yourself, you take a break, you rest, and then you start to plan, and then sprint throughout the year. The rest of the year is a 60-day sprint, and then you take a little bit of time off. So the funny thing is that this rhythm actually occurs anyway. Whether you plan for it or not, there is a rhythm to the business of some kind. We just think that if you have a compelling target and you plan for the rhythm of it, you can control it a little more. All right? So those are every year we launch 3 activity-based programs. We have the blitz in the beginning, the summertime surge, and then we finish the year with the sprint. Okay? All right, so create your plan. Here's the thing, prepare for the journey. So when we say have a database of clients, people confuse what a database is with a list of relationships. This is kind of big, so if you want to take some notes here, this is where as a coach I can really help you guys out, give you guys a couple tips that we use directly with our clients that I think will benefit you. Is a database by definition, according to what we teach, is a group of people who have told you they would use you and refer you out, period. So full stop, a group of people who have told you they would use you and refer you out, okay? Now, when most people start to build their database, they forget a lot of the gold around their feet or the leaves like right at their feet. They take for granted their most personal relationships. So as you start to build your database, one of the dialogues that we like to use as part of our program is asking people if you're the realtor that they would use or refer out. So one of the things that we do is every 36 months, 24 to 36 months, we try to get our clients to ask, hey, I don't want to take your business for granted. You can write that down. I don't want to take your business for granted. If you guys were buying or selling, am I still the realtor that you guys would use and or refer out? So that little piece in the beginning helps talk about philosophy, like why you're going to ask the question. I'm going to ask the question because I don't want them to think I'm just out of the blue asking them a question like I want their business. The other thing with this dialogue is we don't actually care if they ever move. Like if they decide to move, we hope that we're their realtor. But in actuality, if someone loves their home and wants to stay there, we hope they're happy there for the rest of their life. We just want to earn all their referrals. So you may have to say that to somebody. Not that you want to buy or sell. I hope you may live in your house the rest of your life and you're super happy. But if you decide to, or if you had a friend or family member who was thinking of it, would we be the agent you guys would use or refer out? So once that kind of drawbridge has been crossed, that we call it a quote unquote mayor campaign. Like if you were running for mayor of a city, would you vote for me? So once that drawbridge has been crossed, then they're in your database. So we consider a database an A+ client as somebody who's referred you multiple times in the past 24 to 36 months. So they either use you again, that's a repeat client, or they refer you out. One of the two. An A client has referred you at least once or used you in the past 24 to 36 months. A B clients are people who've told you, yeah, you're my realtor, of course. Okay. And C clients are people that are big question marks still. So if you really want to do less and achieve more, we need to do the most work with the people who are your biggest advocates. The beginning of getting somebody as an advocate is that you ask them, hey, are you my advocate? And you ask them in a way that allows you to earn their business. All right. So we would go in and we'd prioritize your database. So you put everybody in. And if somebody's close to you and you feel uncomfortable asking that question, then tell them that. Hey, I don't want to make this awkward, but is it okay if I ask you a business question? I would like to ask you a business question. So what that does is that's a sociological term called priming, and that gets them into the realm of, okay, we're about to talk business. We're now out of the friendship world. And once you get everybody on board, then we're going to organize it. We're going to take the best people and we're going to do things with the best people. So every year we come up with a marketing calendar. So the great thing about what we do is that you guys already do it anyway. We just have systems for it. And if you like your systems, continue to use them. But every year people start with some type of plan. Every year people start with how much that I know about how much money I want to make. And every year they have, here's my best group of people, whether they call it a database or not, whether they're qualified or not, they have some loose idea of a database. And then every year they go, okay, here's what I'm going to do with them to maybe earn some business. So we just took it a step deeper. So the Referral Maker calendar, the marketing calendar talks about at the beginning of every month, we would send out a mailing. And in the middle of the month, we send a little e-report. That's a competence piece. So we do competence and character, competence and character. A competence piece is every month I send out a mailing talking a little bit about maybe some industry stuff, maybe some things that are going on at the time, maybe some things that'll help you with your house. In the middle of the month, we send out an e-report because I know of the postage rate in Canada. So all of you guys are there going, yeah, for 99 cents, we're not sending out that. I get it. But if it becomes a value, I coach plenty of Canadian clients who send that out and they pay for that over and over and over again with the referrals that they get. The other thing is in the middle of the month, that's a free e-report. So you would send that out. So that's you watering your database every month. Okay. And then we also talk about, Brian has a webcast. If you want to join that, that's great. He does a teaching. You could put that in your calendar. We do these things called business mixers where you would get together with your business owners on maybe you could do a business breakfast like the first Monday of the quarter or something, or the third Thursday, whatever you want to do, and get with your business owners and kind of network them together. Be the straw that stirs the drink. And these fancy things over here look like little balloons for a party. So we would do what we call a client party, and that's where you get your database together and you have a good time with them. I have tons of examples of client parties from, I have a client that hosts a party at the dog park on a Saturday where he brings breakfast and mimosas and coffee, and they do canines and coffee, a client appreciation party. And he probably spends $250 on really good coffee and really good rolls and decent champagne. And then he brings little treats for the dogs. That's an example of an easy way to do a party. I have a client in New Jersey who's doing the Star Wars movie that's coming out. They rented a theater and they're inviting their whole database to come to the theater. So there's so many different types of client events that we do. We do one around American Thanksgiving right now where our clients are hosting people to give away a pumpkin pie or an apple pie as a thank you, where people will come to you and hang out in a little open house and leave with a gift. So we would plan those into the calendar. And then we'd also plan in your trainings, whatever your trainings would be. This is a great example of a training. So you would put this as a training piece, where we have a success tour that I'll show you guys later. Brian, my boss, is actually going to be speaking up in Toronto in a little bit. So you organize your calendar. So you have a compelling target, you prioritize and you organize your calendar, and then you systematize. And so what we mean by systematize is every month we would send out something. Every month we send out an e-report. We would be planning for a client event of some kind, right, with people who've told us they'd use us and refer us. We'd be having some type of business mixer. So if you did those four things, that would completely water and fertilize your database. Okay? All right. So do less and achieve more. This is the key. This is why people contact us or your broker or anything. If you don't want to do less and achieve more, then this might not be the right business for you. But those two things kind of resonate with everybody. So focus on the critical few. A lot of times people focus on the loudest few, or the most tyrannical few, or the neediest few. We got to focus on the critical few. So we try to make stuff as simple as possible. In our program, we have a program that tells you who your best people are to call and when you call them. So literally you log in and say Tucker Campbell right here. You can't read it, it's a little hard. He's an A+ client. He's the first person I should call. So if I don't know who to call, I call Tucker. One of the other things that we do is we write personal notes to people. So it'll suggest the people you should write a note to. The other thing, at the top it says Popeyes. So Popeyes to us is a little gift where you would go out and take a gift to a client. Maybe I'll give you a little tip. If you go to lunch with a business owner and you hear a want or need of the business owner, go to this really cool site called Amazon and order something and have it delivered to you. A book. The Richest Man in Babylon is a good finance book, or whatever they're kind of into. Order them something. It'll arrive at your office. You can write a personal note in it and pop by with it. Hey, I really appreciate you taking the time to go to lunch with me. I thought you might enjoy this. And I'd love to be able to connect with you in a couple of weeks and see how we're doing. Something to that effect. So there's an opportunity for you. Popeyes are where you take a gift to people. So, for example, for Christmas, I'll have people taking by poinsettias. So maybe your top 20 people, you would go hand deliver a poinsettia and tell them you appreciate them and let them know how much you appreciate them with trust and confidence to use you and refer you out. You could also do, I have people do little mini bottles of champagne for the new year, like, hey, have a sparkling new year. And for those of you that don't drink, don't get mad at me, use sparkling apple cider. It's really great. The kids will like it. You can pop by with that and tell them you appreciate them. So now's the time of year where you're actually out seeing people and really planting like long-term seeds, really solidifying the relationship. All right. So once you focus on the critical few, not the loudest few and not the craziest few and not the most tyrannical few, but the ones who you've determined will use you and refer you the most, the next thing you got to do is you got to track your activity. And we do that. We have an app. We have a referral maker. And the reason that you track your activity is not so that it gives you something else to do by the end of the day. It's because you need to know where you are and where you're going. So we want to know how many contacts it takes you to earn a referral, because you may be doing too much work. We want to know who your best people are so that they're actually your best people. And then what we do is we continually adjust our compass with how we're going to achieve our year based upon the activity that you've done. So it's like a GPS. Think about this as a GPS for your business. Like the GPS, which is the global positioning system, what it does is it tells you where you are on what road you're driving on. And the reason it works so well is because it goes up to the satellite and comes back down with information. And then that information says, yes, you're on the right road, make a left at the next turn. But if you don't track anything and you go along for like a month in your business and go, oh, let me check out with the satellite and see what's going on. Think about that. That's like driving for 4 hours on a road trip and then going, oh yeah, let's see where we are. You wouldn't do that on vacation, but yet people do that in their business. So if you can get pretty detailed with making sure you put in what you've done, it'll allow you then to make decisions with what you do in the future. All right. So if your goal is to do 30 Popeyes, for example, or 15 Popeyes for the month of December, and you've done 8, you need to know you have 7 to do. So then your next question to yourself is, okay, which 7 am I going to do? Or 8 if I want to be surplus of my goal, right? So I would do 7 or 8. And then which 8 am I going to do, and who are they going to do them to, and when is that going to happen? So tracking your activity, whether it's your finance, your sales prices, what activity you do with who, it's critical to what you do. It is your GPS for your business, all right? And then 80% is good enough. If you live life north of 80% across the board, that's good enough. Where it's not good enough is if I'm an 80% person in doing a transaction, but I'm a 10% person in throwing client parties. And I'm an 89% person in writing personal notes, but I'm a 7% person in calling. So you can have peaks and troughs. Just make the peaks and troughs above 80%. And then you'll be successful. 80% is good enough. If you want to be great enough, that's 90%. And obviously, if you're one of those people who has a high standard, then you'd want your peak and trough above 100%. But according to Brian, and I agree with him, 80% is good enough as long as it's all above 80%. All right. So if you're doing stuff with the right people, people know where they stand. They've told you that you're their realtor. All right. And you know where you want to go. This is a pretty simple business. So notice I said simple, not easy. So simple meaning we write notes to people. We take a gift to somebody. We would have our best people over for a little happy hour or a doggy day or any number of parties that we can co-create. And then we send out some marketing materials a couple of times a month that lets them know we're in business and we're professionals. If you can do that north of 80%, there's no goals you haven't achieved. I've been coaching 14 years. I have never coached a client ever that set a business plan. And if they did 100% of the business plan that we set for the year, didn't achieve their goals. Now, I've had people that didn't do 100% of the business plan, didn't achieve their goals, but I've never coached anybody that did north of their business plan and then wasn't able to achieve their goal for the year. And that's even in the recession, So 80% is enough. So one of the things I want to offer to you guys is, I know you guys took a little time with me today and I've talked a lot. I'm going to answer all the questions that come in a second. But we're going to send this out to you. There's a complimentary coaching session if you're interested, and there may be some good information in it. I would take it, see if it's for you. And maybe there's a couple tips in there you get. One of our membership representatives is going to offer kind of what we do and do a little coaching session with you. It's not a pressure thing. We don't pressure people to coach. In fact, we sort more people than we pressure, because as a coach, the number one thing I need is players. I can't coach people that don't play. So if you want to play and you're interested, please copy the link down at the bottom. We'll send it out to you after the call, and sign up for your free coaching session. And hopefully that helped a little bit. I want to make sure that I get a couple things answered, and then we'll go from there. So let me exit my screen, and let me go back to the home screen. So let's see. Yeah, it says that you guys are muted on your end.
Yeah, hi, Billy. I'm here now.
Okay.
So I think you can hear me, yeah?
I can.
Okay, super. Just let me turn down my sound because I'm hearing some backgrounds here. Okay, so I'm just waiting for questions to come into the chat right now. So I'm just going to give everyone a few moments. I think they had a lot to digest there.
Sorry, fire hose today.
Yeah, I know, right? But maybe we can, just go back and talk about the importance of CRMs, because I know you were talking a lot about, making sure that you document stuff and reminders. And, I know some people maybe are skeptical of the importance or the value of using a CRM system. So maybe we can just revisit that a little bit.
Sure. Am I done sharing my screen, or are you? Let me see here.
Yeah, we're just, the camera's on you right now.
Yeah, so we'll just talk about that real quick. We set a business plan, and we have to put that business plan somewhere, right? And so when we set a business plan, and then think about two ships. You have two ships that leave port, right? And they both leave port, and they're off each by 1 degree. So as they continue apart, they're not that far apart after an hour. You can still see each other, right? But if you have the two ships and we're 2 hours later, now everybody's a little distant. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then a day later, you have two ships that leave from New York. We'll pick an American city. Sorry. But we leave from New York. We got one ship a degree off, another ship a degree off. After 3 days, they're way, way off from each other. And that's only by 1 degree on a compass. So imagine if you're running your business and you set out a business plan, and then a degree would be if you don't check in by the end of the week and see where you stand in relation to your business plan. Because there's 360 degrees in a compass, right? And there's only 52 weeks in a year. So it's really like being off by 6 degrees if you don't check in at the end of the week. And so you multiply that by week over week, you could be significantly off your plan.
Okay, and so should my business plan be very tied to my financial goal, or should I have anything else involved with that?
Good. So your business plan, according to us, revolves around 3 things, really. The first thing in your business plan is you need a financial goal. How much money do I need to earn, and what am I going to do with the money? That's as simple as you can make it. So people have lifestyles outside of business, right? They don't work to live to work, they work to live, right? So when you have a business plan, you want to say, here's how much money I want to earn, and here's what I'm going to do with it. And then the last piece is big. I always ask clients all the time, I want to earn 250. Well, why? Well, because I earned 200 last year. But that doesn't really get people out of bed. Right? So if I said you want to earn 250, what are you going to do with the 250? And you said, okay, I want to buy. We talked earlier, and you said you would buy a new green Tesla or new green car of some kind, right?
Yeah, an electric car. That's what I want. That's my goal.
Sure, electric car. Plus, you're going to want to put some money in retirement because you don't want to retire to the local park bench, right?
Yes.
Okay. And if you have a family, they may need some stuff. Like I coached a client the other day. He's like, I didn't budget for my kids' braces. And I go, okay, I get that. So how much are the braces? And he goes, well, I didn't really ask the orthodontist. And I said, okay, so how much would you like to budget for the braces? He goes, well, I don't have any idea. And I said, well, I'm not orthodontist. So when you check out the orthodontist, we got to figure out how much you want to budget for the braces. And then you're going to work now so that your kid has straight teeth, which is a lot bigger than what you did last year. Right? So the first thing is you got to know how much money you want to make, and you got to know what you're going to do with the money. Okay?
Perfect.
The second thing is you need a budget. How much do we spend at home, and how much do we spend at business? So there's two separate budgets, a home budget and a business budget. Okay? And the philosophy is you always cut at home to support the business. You don't start pulling feathers out of the golden goose to make a quilt, right? You make more golden eggs to make golden geese. So you always cut at home to support the business, and then in turn you create surplus money in the business that supports the lifestyle. So home budget, business budget, okay?
Okay.
And with the home budget and the business budget, that will drive your profit and loss statement. So how much money do I want to make, right? And what am I going to do with the money? Home budget, business budget. Okay, those two things so far. And then the last thing is your marketing plan. How am I going to get there? And those three things are the business plan.
Okay, fabulous.
Now the marketing plan has stuff in it, right? So like there's like, I'm going to go to an event. I'm going to go host a client party. I'm going to have my business owners to a restaurant, right? I'm going to do Popeyes for the summertime for Canada Day with little Canadian flags, right? There's all kinds of things within the business plan or the marketing plan, but those three big things are what we need.
Wonderful. Okay. So I see a question here. So we have one of our participants said, thank you for the conversation to have with people who will not buy or move. I've been wondering how to approach that scenario. So that's from Fiona Simard. So I guess what she's asking is, you know, how to convince someone who doesn't want to buy or move that maybe buying or moving is the right idea.
Okay, so here's the challenge is real estate's fairly simple. Your job is to get a client to their goal. If you get a client to their goal, they'll use you over and over and over again. That makes sense. So I would tell Samar, if that's the question, and I think there may be two questions here, but I'll answer this one and what may be her question as well. So if you want to get somebody to move, you have to help them create the scenario that gets them to their goal. So I would ask a question like, okay, you mentioned that you might want to move, but you're not sure about that, and it's a little scary. So what's your ultimate goal? Like, where are you living? What are you paying in rent or mortgage? What area of town do you live in? Like, if I was to give you a magic wand, what do you want it to look like? And have them start to paint it out a little bit. And continue with questions like, tell me more. That's good. Fill me in on that. Keep going is a great question. Okay, I like it. Keep going is a great question because it gets them to start peeling the onion a little bit. So we call it bottom lining, but what we're really trying to do is get somebody to peel their own onion a little bit so that your client is going to get to their real goal. And maybe their real goal is, I don't think I can buy a house because I can't afford it, but if I really could, I'd like to move in 3 years. Great. And once we get to the bottom line, then what you do is you would build a plan with the client that gets the client to their goal when they want to get there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fabulous. And then, so going on with these people, Fiona actually corrected me. I misinterpreted her question, and she was saying, specifically, she was referring to having those people become her biggest referrer. I know you touched on that a bit of, okay, well, if the people don't want to move, they're happy where they are. Can you talk more about how do we have the conversation of asking people, will you refer me?
Sure. So the first thing is you want to honor it. They're happy where they're at, right? So you say, you know what, I'm so glad you love the house that you're in. Here's a couple of things, because I work differently. So you want to talk about how you work. And that's one of the dialogues we have called a referral dialogue. It's in our program, but I'll kind of go over it quickly. Because I work differently, I hope you live in your house the rest of your life and you're happy. Most realtors aren't going to want to talk to you until 10 minutes before you're ready to get moving. Okay? But what I do is a little different. Because I work by referral, I have a whole group of business owners. You've been doing those business mixers that we talk about, and you've been hosting these client parties. And the business owners that you know that you're mixing with, they come to the client parties because they get to meet all of the clients that you're going to refer them to. So what you say, Fiona, is, I work a little differently. So I work by referral. I hope that you live in your house the rest of your life and you're happy. Can you do a couple things for me? First thing is, if you're ever ready to buy or sell, just let me know, and we'll take care of you when you're ready. Second thing is, if you need a referral for anything, like let's say you need a new roofer, a plumber, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, like that's what I do. Call me. I'd love to connect you with a great tradesperson. And by the way, I'm having a client party come up, so I would love for you to come eat our food and drink our drink and party with us, because that's how we do it.
Oh, okay. But let's say I'm someone that's really nervous and I'm afraid to ask people, refer me to my friends. So do I just need to work up the courage to do that?
Yeah, it's a follow-up question. So the first thing we do, remember we said we're going to qualify the client. We're going to say, hey, if you guys were buying or selling, am I the realtor that you guys would use a referral? So that person's already told you that you're the realtor that they're going to choose to use and refer to their friends and family. Okay, so now that makes it a little easier. So when you have a client party, for example, you would call them and say, hey, I'm having a little party because you and my other clients refer me out. I'd love for you to come, and it's my way of saying thank you. That's like an assumptive close. That's an easy way to get somebody there, right? And then you might say something in the end of it, like, by the way, I'm never too busy to work with someone like yourself. If you're ever looking to buy or sell, I'd love to work with you and earn a referral. Or if you come across somebody who's looking to buy or sell, I'd love to earn a referral from you as well. So you can write that down. I'd love to earn a referral from you. That's a really good way to, instead of just asking for things, because I agree with you, there's a fear there for I need, instead of I earned. Those are different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really, really like that. I'd like to earn a referral from you. I think that's a great one. So I see another question here. Is there a script to use to help clients get to their specific goals, whether buying or selling? And that is from Andy. Andy.
Okay. I'm going to give you better than a script. And the better than a script is what questions you use. So you want to question people, like kind of like peeling an onion without crying. So you're going to like peel the onion. So here's a magic wand, and when are you moving into your new house? Tell me about it. Like, when would you move in if you could? Like, let's just say everything worked out the way you want to. Paint me a picture of when you're moving in. I would start with that. And then I would say, okay, like, you need a perfect neighborhood. Like, what neighborhoods are you like, man, I'd love to live in that neighborhood? Have you looked at any? What do you think? Okay. And then you would continue to peel the onion with those questions, like, tell me more. And then you would go with, okay, so now that we've kind of got an idea, what I'm hearing you say is you would like to do this, this, and this. This would kind of be your ultimate project, right? Great. So we could take the fear out of that. And the way we take the fear out of that is we look at like the financing and the timeline, and we'll get there. And then you kind of break it down all the way back. So talk about financing with it. What might you be able to afford? And then maybe go in with the lender and talk about, well, let's get you pre-qualified, and let's let the money speak for itself, and then we can decide if you need to either earn some more, either save some more money, or if you have enough to get to where you want to go.
Great. Yeah, I like the idea of asking a lot of questions.
Let me go back. And the questions are like wave a magic wand, use that one. The questions are, tell me about the neighborhood you might live in. Tell me about the ideal house for yourself. Like if you can move in, what day would it be? Like give me the timeline that's perfect for you. Like the move-in timeline. I'll help you fill in the rest, but like when you'd like to be there by. And then questions along the way. Like I said, tell me more, fill me in. Oh, that's interesting. Keep going about that. That's really interesting. Can you go a little further into that piece? I'll give you an example. My little brother was buying in the suburbs of New York and New Jersey, and there were like 3 very high-end towns that he was looking at buying, and he has a very good job. He makes a ton of money, works in the city, and he wanted to have a place for his kids. He's like, I want to be close to a train, and I want to have a little room for my kids. That's what he told the agent. So the agent starts looking for $2 million worth of yard as close to a train. And my brother sees agents and sees this and all this other stuff. And this one agent was like, hey, you know what? Why don't we grab a glass of wine and I can really ask you some questions. So they grab a glass of wine and the agent's like, tell me about you guys. What do you do for fun? Like, what's fun for the Van Ramps? And my brother's like, we like to play golf. My brother's wife played at USC, and like that's their big thing. They're real big golfers. And they went into this whole thing. She really got to know the clients and what they're about. And they're like, are your kids going to be athletic? Like the whole thing. And to find out, they picked their house based on the distance to the golf course, not the distance to the train station, which wound up both being really good. But they picked their town because it was 15 minutes from a golf course, and Dad could walk from the train to the house. And there was the 3 private schools around that they wanted to go to. But half of it was our fun as the golf course, and that's where we're going to invest our money, is in being able to utilize that tool. And here's the course we like. So to answer your question, there's not really a dialogue. I mean, you would never say, okay, all the sports you play, check. Like that wouldn't come in.
Wonderful. So I had a question here. When working a CRM effectively, how many qualified people do you need in that CRM? As a single practitioner, how many people can you effectively keep in proper contact with? And that's from Kevin.
Good question, Kevin. It depends on your business plan, and it depends on the education level of the people in your database. So when you're working by referral, it takes around 6 or so times of you educating what you do, why you do it, and the benefit to the client. So think of a pop by where you pop by with a gift and say, man, I get to work by referral because you guys refer me out. Like this is my way of saying thank you. Enjoy this awesome poinsettia at the holiday time. That would be an example of one of those, right? So you're not going to pop by to everybody, and people are going to get deleted as well. So there's not really a number. It's like you're fishing in a river and you're looking for the spot with the most water and the most fish. So it's going to be a moving target. If you have to do 50 deals a year to hit your business plan and you're brand new, you're going to need a higher number in your database because those may not be as educated as somebody who's been around a long time. So Brian says the average person knows 256 people according to a tough study, and that was like pre-social media study, right? So let's just say that's the number, that the average person knows 256 people. That means that if you had 100 people who you became a significant advocate for, that means that every time you marketed to the 100, you'd be marketing to 26,500. Okay? So to say what number you need is going to be based on your specific business plan, how good you are at educating your database, how well they are receiving it, and how systematic you are. And so I wouldn't be able to answer that question until I knew exactly who's in your database and how long they've been there, because in your 5th year, you may need 100 instead of 300. And in your 1st year, you may need a lot because people aren't getting it yet and they're starting to weed themselves out, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
Does that answer his question? You can message him back and just make sure that I answered it. But it's more of a, it's a target, not a number based on your business plan.
Well, and I think, and this is a question from me, but I've heard it from a lot of people, is there such thing as too many people? Because, part of his question was how many can you effectively keep in proper contact with? I know I've met some agents that they keep dumping all these contacts in their database, and I wonder, are you even staying in touch with them? How is it humanly possible?
Sure. And what you'll do is they'll delete themselves. So you run a program, and you don't pick a number, you run a program. So every month you send out an item of value. Middle of the month you would send out an e-report, right? You call your A pluses every month or every other month. You call your A's once a quarter maybe, and you call your B's 2-3 times a year. You call your C's once a year. And as people don't start to get back to you, then all of a sudden you can say, okay, now I'm going to move these people out and move new people in. So it's a pruning thing. Think of like a bush, right? Like you want it to grow and then you prune it. You want it to grow, then you prune it. So
yeah, that's a great analogy. I like that. Okay, so this is a question specifically about Buffini CRM. How do you track text messaging and personal emailing with clients in the Buffini CRM? And that is from Shanda Simpson.
Good question. So, okay. We teach text messaging as a way of communicating. We don't teach it as a way of connecting yet. And there's yes, you want to connect with it, but if you're asking for referrals over a text message, it's somewhat passive aggressive in nature. So I know people don't call and ask for a referral. So you can track any activity that you want from referral maker. I wouldn't track it as a note. I would probably track it as a call, but in the subject line I would write text message, and then whether you ask for a referral or not in the text message is where I would track it.
Okay, great. Okay, so
let me go back. Just understand that if you're not calling clients, but every text message you're asking for a referral, that's passive aggressive. So every now and then when somebody goes, yeah, I'm coming to the party, I can't wait to see you guys, be like, man, if you're bringing anybody I don't know, I'd love to meet them. That is a great way to ask for referrals. So if you're having a client party over the holidays, one of the best questions you can ask people is, hey, I want to make sure if you're coming from work or you're coming from soccer, you have the kids or whatever, if you're bringing anybody I don't know, I'd love to meet them. Just let me know so that I can make sure to have a turkey leg or an extra pie for them or something.
That's a great strategy. I like that. Okay, and then we have another question here. And I think this will make sense in terms of context of your CRM, but how do you prevent extras from becoming standards? Oh, I see. Okay, so I think they mean extras in terms of extras on top of the deals. So how do you prevent extras from becoming standards that clients come to expect? And that's from Kelvin again.
Yeah. So if somebody expects, you mean like the little unexpected extras, I assume, like let's say you have a client party and you give away a candle after the client party, that the next time they go to a client party, they're expecting like a puppy.
I guess so.
I mean, a stupid example, right? Like an example.
Sure.
All right. I would say this. I would say that person's uneducated. Meaning that if you do the activities but don't tell them why you're doing what you're doing, they do not connect the dots on their own. So in America, we're really pushy. Like that's kind of you guys as president, we kind of know we're a little on the pushy side, right? And Canada, they're a little on the passive side, not in a bad way. They just are more polite, if that makes sense. So there's good and bad to both. These people can be overbearing and these people can be passive aggressive a little bit. So we want to find the happy median between doing things and articulating why you're doing it. When I'm talking to the Canadian people, not everybody, but and I don't want to generalize everybody, but I'm trying to be as transparent as a coach as I can with what I see on my end. And I would educate these people like, man, because you guys came to the event and you guys are my best clients, I want to do something extra for you guys. When you guys leave, make sure you guys take one of the candles. It's from Jeff. Can you raise your hand, Jeff? Jeff's my candle guy. If you've never been to an open house and seen the candles that are there or the candles all around tonight, it's because he owns the great candle store. Please go check him out. Please say hi. If you get a chance, thank him, because those on the way out are going to be from him. And this party is just a way of letting you guys know that I appreciate you and how much you guys refer us out. So enjoy the evening. Take a candle on the way home. Please don't be the kid at Halloween that takes the whole bucket of candles with you, but take a candle and enjoy.
So when we have an uneducated client, it's up to us to set it straight, no matter how polite we want to be.
Well, yeah, you can do it politely, and a lot of the funny thing is the Canadians that I coach are more fearless than the Americans. So for the most part, the Americans come across as pushy, but the Canadians are very willing to have these conversations politely, but they're very willing to have them. And I like that. I try to explore some of that in what I do. But I think that they also can take for granted that these people are getting it. Like they should get it if I'm doing a client party. Like, why do I have to explain that I'm doing a client party so they'll refer me out? Like, what do they think this is? Like a free buffet?
Wonderful. So I see some people, Andy and Shanda, are saying thank you for the wonderful answers, and I'm not seeing any other questions come in. So we'll just give everyone a few moments, see if they have any other questions coming in.
I have one thing while we wait, if I can.
Yes.
Because my boss would fire me, and he is presenting in Toronto next week. The week after Thanksgiving, on the 20, I believe Wednesday, Thursday, the week after Thanksgiving. So if you guys, I know that they have a thing set up, but if you guys want to go, please feel free to log into the members area, to log into buffinicompany.com, click on events, click on Toronto, and check him out. It's a great training. And I feel like that if I should ask you guys to go out and ask for referrals, that if I got on a call with you guys that didn't ask you for a referral to come see my boss, that wouldn't be living what we teach. So if you guys can hop in there, check it out. I think it'll be worth your money. I've never had anybody go to an event. And if you decide to go and you don't like it, they'll give you a refund with a smile, and you can head on back.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I believe the date for that is the 29th and the 30th of November, if my memory serves me correctly. So I see we have a question here about is there any kind of discount for the Success Tour? Is that an offer?
That would be you guys offering. I don't know. See, what we've done with events, so you guys know from a philosophy standpoint, is we throw a 2-day event and we price it at the bottom end of the market. And our goal is to exceed the expectation of the event. So our event is priced extremely fairly, but they don't do a lot of discounts because what we try to do is exceed what the experience you're going to have at the other side by coming to the event. So Brian likes to keep the prices low and reasonable so people can come, but he's not a fan of just doing high prices discounts, because he doesn't want you to come and feel like you got bamboozled like the guy next to you in 4D who got his ticket for $1 when you paid $4.50 to fly the same flight. So
that's very, very true. Oh, and I see a question here. So what is the length of each break between 3 phases of year? Launch the year, summertime surge, and finish the year. And what is the best thing to do during the breaks? And that is a question from Dariush. Sorry if I said your name wrong.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look and see exactly how long the breaks is. But the breaks doesn't mean you don't do anything. It means that there's a period in there where you recover. So there's a recovery period, and then there's like a retooling period. So in the retooling period, it's like, okay, where am I at financially? Are all my budgets straight? Have I planned out my next quarter? Like there's a retooling period for the next sprint and a down period. So it would depend on how fast you retool and how much of a down period you need. That makes sense. So like if you've been doing this for 10 years, maybe, and you don't have a ton to retool, and you're like, I'm going to go to Barcelona for 3 weeks. Go for it. My database is educated. I don't have a ton to do right now. The key there is also that when you're in that down period, you should be closing more deals. Like that's when you should be harvesting a lot of the work you put in. Our transactions are closing during that gap period. So it's more of a retooling, closing transactions, and then figuring out what kind of recovery is best for you. And like we said in coaching, we're going to have we have a profile we use that we're able to help you determine how much recovery you need based on your personality type, things like that.
Wonderful. I think that was very helpful. So I see we are getting to the end of our time slot here. So we'll just wrap things up. I want to thank you so much, Billy. I learned a lot. This was really fun. I want to apologize to you and to our audience for the technical challenges that we had at the start. You should have seen me running around here trying to figure out why my stuff died on my end. So, but we got it all figured out. So that's what's important.
So I want to thank you guys real quick. I present, but I'm a coach, so I'm not like a corporate presenter, but I do more coaching presentations. So my goal is to give you guys some cool takeaways and have like a conversation with you, almost like we would be doing coaching. So I appreciate you putting up with that today, and I appreciate the little different style. And thanks for all your hard work, because Rolla Page did a lot to set this up. Like, we've been working on this for a couple of weeks. We put together a presentation. They put in some effort with this and getting a hold of me to do this. So I want to thank Royal LePage for the effort you guys put in. It's been great.
Thank you. So I just want to let all of our participants know that Learning Services will be sending you all an email with a link of the webinar, so you can watch it as a recording anytime that you want. You can watch it over and over and over again. And included in that, I will also put the link in for the offer that Billy was talking about. So all of that will be in the email that you receive, since you've registered through Eventbrite. So you'll get all that. If anyone has any questions about anything, you can email me at learningservices@royallepage.ca. So yeah, I just want to thank all of you. Have a great rest of the day. I hope you can make it to the event at the end of the month. And yeah, we're going to sign off now.
Have a great day. Bye, Cheryl, my client.